Welcome once again to Breakfast Central. Now let's take you through the newspapers and share with you the biggest stories making headlines across Nigeria today. We're going to be starting with the Guardian newspapers, and big story there says at 1,200 naira to the dollar, 985 naira per litre, fuel spike squeezes air travel and pricing. It is currently extremely hard just surviving day by day, as a Nigerian. And that includes, the rich, the middle class. Actually, there's no middle class at this point, it's just the rich and the poor. If you still have enough money to take flights, and you're still flying across Nigeria, you must understand what this means. Flights are no longer affordable to whoever used to be middle class. But of course, the dollar seems to continue, its rise. By Christmas, it's expected that a naira will be at 1,500, maybe 2,000 naira. But we'll see. Also on the Guardian newspapers this morning, Wiki clarifies meeting with Israeli envoy as Pandef, INC knock Gumi. NSARS, Falana asks minister to review plan on 500 million naira fine for convicts. Rethink palliatives, step up productive engagement. I probably need to read a little bit more about the 500 million naira fine story and see what exactly it's talking about. Because if there is still no proper investigation into the lives that were lost during NSARS and the people who killed those people, the people responsible for the death of those people, the Lagos State government owning up that 130 bodies were meant to be buried without telling the
initially denying it.
Let's move away from that. But so if you agree that 130, or say 130, 103, but 100 plus bodies were meant to be buried by a mass burial, but still has not been able to tell Lagosians what happened to those people. Do you know what it means for a government to say with its chest that yes, there's 100 plus people that we want to mass bury, but we do not know and we're not necessarily interested in finding out who killed these 100 people? I don't know if Nigerians understand what exactly we're talking about here, because we have gotten so used to deaths in numbers. We've gotten so used to hearing these things that it no longer is shocking to anybody.
So I'm a bit confused as to this story, because I've just looked it up online now. And what I'm seeing is completely different from what, what it supposedly means. The story here is saying that renowned human rights lawyer Femi Falana has urged Interior Minister Olubunmi Tunjojo to review the plan of paying 500 million naira in fines for the release of inmates. So I don't know why the hashtag NSAS is there.
No, inmates, convicts.
So I'm not quite sure exactly what that story is.
My point still stands.
But yeah,
regardless of what Femi Falana is saying, it is still important that Nigerians never forget that 100 plus people lost their lives during that protest, before the protest, in that whole period. And the Lagos State government, the Nigerian government itself, has still not been able to tell the Nigerian people what led to the loss of 100 Nigerian citizens. That's it. There's nothing more to add to that. That we've simply decided that we're going to move on and carry on with our lives after 100. When I say it, it almost feels like, 100 feels like 2 in Nigerian terms when it comes to, death. It feels like 1 and 1.5.
Also, maybe because we don't even attach names, because of course we do have a data collection problem.
We can't attach names.
Yeah,
but at least can we stick with the fact that 100 lives in a country that is not at war? This is not Gaza. Neither is it Syria. It's not Ukraine either. So 100 lives were lost, and the Lagos State government did not, till date, tell us that these people were killed by this person, and this person is being sent to jail, and this person is being prosecuted, and it will never happen again. Go on. Still on The Guardian this morning. Terrorist attacks Customs House, kill officer in Yobe. Articles A tackles Tinubu over forgery allegation. Supreme Court justices down by 1 as Musa Dantijo bows out. And of course, coalition resorts to protest lawsuits to stop purchase of 57 billion naira SUVs for lawmakers. Nigeria is a very interesting country, not interesting in a good way. These are the major stories on the Guardian newspapers this morning, and I think we can find some other newspaper. Let's see what's on the Daily Independent.
All right, on the Daily Independent, competition slows among banks as tech flattens service. Fintechs are the big gainers. Supreme Court bench hits all-time low as Justice Datijo retires on the 27th of October. We also have here, Wike Pandef tackles Gumi, says, any Nigerian can be FCT minister. Wike is bringing it hot. His time in office has not been very exciting. He's garnered some level of criticism, especially with his recent reactions to doctors going on strikes. He's threatened that if you go on strike, that he enjoys it. They're not finding it funny. And what that tells, a lot of Nigerians would say that what that tells is there isn't that feeling of accountability to Nigerians. If you feel that the people you're put to serve, you can threaten. But that's a conversation for another day. Well, Pandef has tackled Gumi and said that any Nigerian can be FCT minister. Serap asks court to stop reps from taking delivery of 360 SUVs worth 57.6 billion naira. We had Serap on the show last week to talk about, was it this one that we had them talk about the vehicles? I can't remember now. But yeah, Serap has asked the court to stop reps from taking this delivery. Will the court stop them? Is conversation for one day. What the next steps are, we will find out. Presidential election appeal. PDP optimistic of victory at Supreme Court on page 6. Israel strikes Gaza, Syria, West Bank as war against Hamas threatens to ignite other fronts. This has gotten really ugly and dirty. Again, agencies, experts canvass removal of aviation parastatals from TSA. They say 40% deduction breaches ICAO recommendation, strangulation. Lagos shots as PAMDA, BBA, other markets at trade fair complex. At the top of the paper, speaking about the Imo gubernatorial elections, Ihe Dioha working for Hope Uzodima's re-election. And this is according to PDP chieftain. And final story on the Daily Independent this morning. Kogi government raises the alarm over alleged assassination attempt on Governor Bello's life. We did take that story this morning. He's come out to clarify that it wasn't an assassination attempt and giving us a picture of what it is. Different views. Allegedly, the Commissioner of Communication has been fired, but we'll bring more updates on that story as we have it. And that's all that we have this morning on the Daily Independent.
Just to mention that, the Nyesom Wike controversy is yet another very shameful incident in Nigeria's story. And the story of a Nigerian and, where we currently are, that the FCT minister is being tackled by these individuals. It's not just Shegumi, it's a couple other people. Not because of competence, not because, he's not shown that he would be able to, uplift the standard of living in the FCT and improve on the Human Development Index in the FCT, not because of any of that, but because of religious and tribal sentiments. That's it. And you've started to hear more and more of these things. I saw some other video. I didn't bother watching it, but I saw that, that's what he was talking about. How, they wouldn't allow a Christian to be, leading in the FCT or to be FCT minister and things like that. How Christians don't like Muslims, and when Christians are in office, so those types of very, very incisive statements that have never taken Nigeria anywhere. But this is where we still are in 2023. By persons that unfortunately are still giving, airtime, to share their thoughts. People that normally should have been in DSS, custody, answering questions on inciting.
The one thing that I know
violence.
is it's important that we mention that those who are put as ministers, you're put there to serve the people. The needs of the people come first before your ego or anything else.
No, we're not even talking about what you are meant to do. I'm talking about the people who are attacking him.
Okay.
And saying that because he's Christian, he shouldn't rule the FCT. That's where this is coming from.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go to the Punch newspapers quickly and throw in a couple of stories. Federal government plans 26 trillion naira borrowing, 29 trillion naira for debt servicing, and that's it's titled a 3-year blueprint. Debt servicing to exceed capital budget expending by 7.69 trillion naira amid slow economy. High debt servicing costs create potential fiscal risk, government laments. Okay. Also on the Punch this morning, 5 die, 15 injured in Lagos-Ibadan highway crash. APC, PDP hopeful as Supreme Court battle starts today. Yes, Nigerians have their fingers crossed. Some of them have given up. Others are still hopeful that there would be, something out of the Supreme Court. Remember, there's also the FBI documents that, certain people are still expecting from the United States. Mostly people who, of course, have approached the court to release FBI documents on Nigeria's president. Friends mourn Nigerian medical students killed in the Philippines, and also Israel Hamas. Biden, Pope protesters want ceasefire, while the United States continues to fund Israel and give them arms and ammunition. They, of course, on the other side, talking about ceasefire. They would fund, they would give them ammunition, they would give them money, they would, send them weapons, then go to the press and tell, the press that they are talking about a ceasefire. It's a shame. Assassination, police probe alleged attempt on Bello. 4 hits, 685 naira per litre in the north. Naira slumps further, exchanges at 1,190 naira to the dollar. These are the stories making headlines, and this basically paints a very, very interesting picture, not in a good way, of what current day Nigeria is like. From aviation fuel to the exchange rate to the, stories on assassination attempt on Governor Bello's life, to, of course, Nigeria's borrowing plans and what they expect to borrow in the next couple of years. Supreme Court ruling, which is expected, Ibadan Highway crash and some of it. It basically paints the picture that this is where Nigeria is in 2023. And it's not a very, bright, beautiful picture, if we're being honest.